Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Coach Patrick Precourt here, ready for this week's Monday Mindset Call. Great to see you guys here. Got some cool stuff to talk about today, as always. I appreciate you guys being patient with me last week, as Mr. Justin sat in for me. How did Justin do last week, guys? What's up, Mr. Cho? What's up, brother? Good to see you. So it's with a very high-level group of entrepreneurs last week. We were doing some leadership stuff with them, right? And a common discussion came up around driving people, around around motivated employees. Janice says, Justin did good. You guys are all so professional. I appreciate that, Janice. Thank you. Very kind of you. So the discussion is, about, getting employees that are motivated so they don't have to motivate them. So, of course, we had to first have a discussion about motivation, what it is, and how it differs from inspiration, and then take a little responsibility as business owners as to the role that we play in that. And that's what I'll share with you guys today. And what I'm going to share it in the context of getting the most out of those around you, but I want you to look at this also through the eyes of us performing at our highest level each day. I know you know what I'm talking about. I mean, let's be honest. Do we all always work from a motivated and inspired place? The answer is no. Right? And our emotions and our attitudes impact our decision making and our outcomes. And therefore, at the end of the freaking day, our success, our pocketbook, our bank account. That's a relativeness of this discussion here. So, like I said, I'm gonna go through this in terms of your role as a business owner, a manager, a leader, but I want you to also apply it to as a self-mastery skill, what it takes to get the most out of us. Something to think about, right? So let's start with what I put on the board here for you, right? Happiness. Now, this isn't the only definition of happiness, and it's not all there is to happiness, but it's certainly a piece to it. A passion for work that goes beyond money or reward. A passion for work that goes beyond money or reward. So a fair question you should be asking yourselves right now is, if there was not a financial reward in what you do, would you do it? If there was not a financial reward in what you do, would you do it? Not always an easy question to come to terms with, not going to lie. I don't know which word to start with. Does everything I do each day make me passionate? No, not gonna lie. But I do put in context what I do, meaning that I understand where it stands on the bigger picture of things. Understand that, man, there's sometimes we got to do things that we don't like doing in order to get to the things we like to do. So as long as in my mind I can rationalize it and I see its progressive steps, how it moves the needle towards what I want to do most of the time, right? Then I'm like, cool, I can deal with this. But if it's a means without an end, then I struggle with it. It's like, man, I got no out to doing this. It's just going to keep being the same. Not too cool. He says, no way. I think he said no way to are you doing every day what you're passionate in doing? Is that what you're saying? Or to the other question, if there was no financial reward in what you do, would you do it? So in an ideal world, so what's the shortest path to wealth and attraction, wealth and abundance attraction? You don't chase it, you attract it, right? What's the shortest path to attracting wealth and abundance into our lives? Simple. Simple to state, difficult to execute. Simple. Got to meet 3 criteria. That's it. You do something that brings tremendous value to the world, to the universe. You do something that you're super, super really good at. And you do something that you really, really love to do. Love to do it, really good at it, brings tremendous value to the universe. Bam! You will attract unlimited wealth and abundance and prosperity and goodness and fulfillment and peace into your lives. So then we got to ask ourselves, does what we do meet that formula? Something for consideration. Now you look at like an obvious example, like a Steve Jobs, right? Apple computer. Did it meet criteria number 1? Did it bring tremendous value to the universe? Hell yeah. Were they really, really good at it? Yeah. Did they love doing it? Hell yeah. Met the formula. And you can go through that many, many times. So I'll share another thought with you. 2 people could be seemingly doing the same thing, and one could very easily meet all 3, and the other one meet none of the above. So it's less about like the category or title of what you're doing. It's more about how you go about doing it and why you do what you do. So it brings in the Simon Sinek why circle, right? Everybody, the outer ring, knows. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Hold on. Hold on. Magic. Bucket of pens. Right? Yeah. This circle represents what you do. Okay? Everybody knows what you do. They can see it. The Apple computers, they know that, well, Apple makes a beautiful computer. You see what they do. Not hard, right? Next one is how. Everybody knows what you do. Some people know how you do it. You know, in the case of Apple Computer, they did it by integrating crazy fonts and things like that, and shortcuts, and using little symbols instead of having to put in code. It made it a very user-friendly computer. They made a better computer. They did it by making it very user-friendly. Few, though, know why. Steve Jobs said, "We want to make computers available to everyone. When I make everybody equal, it wasn't just the affluent or the gifted. The average man could feel right at home with the computer. It's why they did what they did. How they did it is they made it crazy user-friendly through neat fonts and icons and symbols and things like that, intuitive. What they did is they made a beautiful computer for everyone. Everybody knows what you do. Some people know how you do it. Very few know why. When you start expressing yourself the other way around, and you start with why, so the world first sees why you do what you do, it changes everything. passion for work that goes beyond money and reward because we put our why out in front. Why we do what we do. That make sense at all to you guys? Hello, Miss Cheryl. Thank you for checking in. Mr. Keith Murphy, good to see you, bro. Does that make sense to you guys before we go any further? Okay. Thank you. Yes and yes. So, one, it's easier to spin it this way. Ha! Didn't think about that. How in the world did I do that? So then the question to you guys would be, you've heard this 1,000 times over, but many of us have never dug into it because it's too easy to just say, oh, it's my family, it's my why, and all that other bullshit, right? Why do we do what we do? So when you think about meeting that criteria, right? Bringing tremendous value to the universe. Doing something we we're really good at and that we really love to do. Two companies could seemingly do the same damn thing. What they do is identical. They both make freaking computers. Dell, Hewlett-Packard, Vizio, they all make computers. How they do it starts to differ. Why they do it is tremendously different. Therefore, they're unlike one another. When you start with why, there is no competition. Because your why is your why. And your why determines your how, determines your what, instead of just doing the what. Oh, we just flip houses. So, I'm going to erase one of these. What I want to talk about today, because I had to precede this though, is how to meet that, how to have passion for what we do. Not driven by money, not driven by title, okay? So again, do this in the context of you have employees, you have other people around you, you need them performing at a high level. You cannot be the one motivating them. Motivating is an extrinsic driver. It's no different than caffeine on you. It's limited in scope, it's limited in what it can do, and the second it wears off, it's gone. Its influence is gone. How do you get people to show up motivated? And that's what I want to share with you today. Cool? I want you to apply this for any of us, which is pretty much all of us, who don't show up motivated every day. And I know it's all of us because none of us are different. We may think we're different. We may think that everybody else has got their shit figured out and like, I'm the only one who doesn't have it like 100% figured out. And that's just a little BS story that you tell yourself that really, quite honestly, is talking yourself down. Except that everybody's got shit. It doesn't matter, do they understand how to deal with it each day? That's the only difference. That person who you think has got everything in order, everything seems perfect in their life, 90% of their life may be perfect. I'll tell you this right now. If 90% of their life is just outrageously perfect, 10% of their life is outrageously effed up. That's the truth. Don't think you're unique in that department. The question is, right, how do we find a sustained drive each day? We're going to look through this through the eyes of how do we create environments so that the people around us, our subordinates, if you will, right, the environments are conducive to them thriving, where they're not just showing up at work. And then we can apply this to us now. It's only 3 components. Easy to talk about, a little more difficult in application, but outrageously beneficial. Cool? Cool like ice. You guys are allowed to talk back, you know. I'll move this over here. You guys are with me on this, right? Still with me? Yes, Pat, we're with you. Okay, number one. Make sure I don't go above my... There. Start with a pen that's got some ink in it. There we go. One is autonomy. We have to create environments in which those around us can operate in a state of autonomy to some degree. What does that mean? Is that they got to be able to make decisions on their own relative to producing the results and outcomes that are desired. They can't be told always what to do, how to do, when to do it, where to do it. Thanks for those yeses, guys. Okay? So what's wrong with that? I'm going to tell you what's wrong with that. Okay? We're all unique. We know that. We have one-off God-given talents and skills unlike anyone else's formula. We all got our own formula, right? We thrive, we find fulfillment, we find passion in exploiting that formula. But when somebody else comes in and puts that fire out, says, do this my way, we don't get to use our own creativity, our authenticity. That passion, that flame is crushed. Think about environments you've been in where you could not create. All you could do is follow orders. How inspiring that was. I say that with an extreme high level of sarcasm. We're designed to grow, to create in our unique authenticity. That's one level of fulfillment. That's like that little flame in our belly here getting turned up when we get to create. And you're talking about employees who say, well, Pat, what about the outcomes? What if they create something that don't work? Well, that's the thing. Our job as managers, as leaders, right, is to hold them accountable to the agreed upon outcomes, but to give them the autonomy to work towards them in their own way. So use our gym as an example, right? Now, mind you, our gym has got a lot of moving parts, 25 or 28 trainers and people, right? 700 and something members in our gym, 360 plus classes a month. We do a lot of classes, a lot of moving parts. You think I micromanage that crap? Hell no. We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of human interactions. I can't manage that. What I can do is hold accountable to one KPI. Happen to be our mission statement. I say to my team all the time, you've got one mission, one result. I don't care how you get there. I'll let you figure that out because you're all unique, special people. And some of them are really special, believe me. Our mission is to provide an outstanding experience for every single client, every single time they walk through our doors. I mean, after all, we do that. We give them the one thing they want, one thing all people want, one thing you and I want always, simply to feel better. That's it. So now, if every single time they have an outstanding experience in our gym, every single time they will feel better. Now they will associate our gym to feeling better subconsciously. When they hear about their gym, they'll then feel better again without even being there because there's a connection to feeling better. Then they'll tell their friends about our gym and they'll naturally come out in such a way they'll be describing it from a place of awesomeness because it makes them feel better. Now, I could approach it differently. I could say, screw the autonomy. It's exactly what to do, how to do, when to do it, what to say, what to wear, how to train your classes, how to shake their hand. I could tell them all of that. Exactly how to do it. And it would kill this. And it would kill their purpose for showing up. I teach them ways to reach that outcome, but let them do it in a way that works for them. Harvey, KPI, key performance indicator. So, I'm glad you brought that up, Harvey. So a KPI is simply something that you feel in your business is a good way to measure results. Marketing would have KPIs. It could be leads. It could be cost per leads. It could be percent ratio conversions, right? Those would all be considered KPIs. Cool. The one that I use to manage our business from, right? One is the experience. I know if I get that right, everything else falls in line. There's others we use, of course, but that's at the top of the pile. So does that example make sense to you guys? Can you imagine the difference between a 23-year-old trainer that's just, energetic, fun, creative? They come in, they have all these great ideas, and I said, no. Those are all those ideas are cute and all, but they're not for us. You just do it our way. Exactly. And pick up your paycheck and leave. Versus, hey, listen, love it. Freaking awesome. Go to town. Just don't miss our mark. Do it in a way that provides an outstanding experience for every single one of our clients every single time they're in our gym, in our home, with us at the dinner table here. Because they are like family. And we're good to go. Make sense? So think about that in your own business and for you personally. Because here's what happens to us oftentimes. We get sucked into trying to copy how somebody else does something. It takes away all of our own authenticity, our genuineness, our creativity. We're trying to be like them instead of being us. See, that's one of the key failure points in competing. I want to be like them, just a little better than them. In order for me to be like you, I have to conform to you. I have to comply. I have to compromise to be you. When in fact, I should not try to be the best at what I do. I should be the only one that does what I do. That would then mean working within my own uniqueness. Nobody else can do what I do as good as I do because they don't have my DNA formula. God-given, unique, special to me. Only I have that. And the second we go there, nobody else can ever compete with you. How cool is that? Harvey, our gym's here in Connecticut, in a little town called Rocky Hill, Connecticut. But does that all make sense to you guys? So think of these in terms of how you apply them to you personally as an individual, also as you apply them to those around you, okay? Those that you, whether they be employees, whether they be independent contractors, whether they be realtors or other investors that you work with, doesn't matter. Now, some of us get hung up on micromanagement. And guys, just be fair. This is no judgment, right? But how many of you find that you're hung up in that space, that you find that you micromanage, you have a hard time handing over the torch, letting someone else fail on their own terms? Ooh, there's a big one. You know, one of the greatest gifts you as a parent, me as a parent, could ever give to a child is to let them fail on their own terms. Not easy, massively beneficial to them. Not easy for us, massively beneficial for them. It's no different in our workplace. It's through failure that we grow the fastest. So last week, like I said, I was down working with a bunch of entrepreneurs, mostly in the space of leadership. And we had one company were expressing how disappointed they were with the growth of their employees. And what it came down to is the employees were never allowed to think. They're allowed to do nothing more than plug in exactly what they're told to do. Therefore, there's no failure and there's no learning. There's no thinking. There's just doing without purpose, without passion, without desire, just doing. Cool. Next, called mastery. For an entrepreneur, we screw this one up a lot, okay? So mastery is the always getting better, the constant state of improvement. The challenge is that it requires feedback. It requires some sort of recognition, or us being able to recognize what's working, what's not, where we've been, where we're going. And as entrepreneurs, we oftentimes do not have, Harvey, here's a word, KPIs that we measure our own performance off of. How do we know if we did better this week than we did the week before? How do we know if we've grown over the past 6 months? And the answer is we generally don't, because we don't track our own personal KPIs, key performance indicators. What would they be for you personally? It could be a million different things. How about how many books you read? So with every book you grow, right? As an example. How about any type of other education or teaching you do? How about how often you take on something that scares the living crap out of you? Because for that to happen means you'd have to be doing something with an unknown outcome, something you've never done before. And as a result of that, it will force growth. It's a measuring stick. It's a barometer. Right? See, the challenge with not having feedback, which, like I said, for the entrepreneur is fairly common, is we lose the driver of mastery, because we are driven to constantly improve, to constantly be better. And when we don't have feedback on that, we lose that drive. It's like having an employee that is told they can never make more money. That immediately will cease their inner drive to push. It's not money that's the driver, it's the steady improvement that is the driver. And that's something we've got to be crystal clear on. It's not the money, the raise that is the driver, that's a result. It's a steady improvement that we seek and feedback of such to validate that we are getting better at something that matters. And that's part 2 here in mastery. Part 1 is we have to get better, right? And 2, it's going to be at something that matters. And if we feel either one of those are missing, then in fact, we're going to lose that driver. Curtis says, sounds like you're referring to John Marshall's book, Become a Person of Influence. Not read it, but I'm sure these things are shared, Curtis, amongst many authors, right? I'm not the curator of it. Let's say if I had to point to any one study, it'd be probably the work done by Daniel Pink, who did a lot in personal behavior that I found. I like him as an author, but I'm sure he's not the original curator either. The interesting part here, none of this stuff is really like that. Oh, that's just freaking outrageously intelligent. No, some of this stuff is just not that hard in thought, more difficult to apply, right? So again, look at the 2 different ways we're looking at this. One with employees and people around us. How can we create environments so that they constantly have a level of feedback and know that day to day they're growing towards something that matters? Well, the matters part should be fairly easy. As you express the reason why your team, your company exists, the why behind what it does. The feedback is simply creating ways you're going to measure their performance. And yes, people want to be measured, no doubt. Agree up front, this is how we're going to measure you week by week. And we'll report back to you week by week. And we'll have conversations about getting better week by week. People love that. It's part of our DNA to constantly want to strive towards something, show daily, weekly, whatever improvement, and know that what we're doing matters. That's where self-mastery comes from. Self-actualization, right, would be the epitome of that. Being all that you can be, out of the Army catchphrase there. Reaching your potential. There's something paradoxical around that concept in that. Reaching your potential would be self-actualization. That'd be the highest level of performance or fulfillment, and therefore the most fulfilling, right? The challenge with that is the paradox or the irony that it's impossible. I guess it falls in that state of infant. infinitesimal, I guess is the word I'm looking for. As you move closer to reaching your potential, you're constantly enhancing your potential, but exponentially. So if you move 1 inch closer, you're enhancing it by 2. 2 inches closer, you're enhancing it by 4, meaning that your potential is getting greater the closer you get to it, and therefore the end target is getting further and further away. You say, well, Pat, that kind of screws with your mind, and where does that leave us? It brings you back to exactly what you've been told 1,000 times over. You've heard it by, again and again and again. Simple, simple, simple. It's not about the destination. It's not about reaching your potential. It's not about there. It's about the journey. Our fulfillment comes in the journey, in the progress, the feedback, the results, the autonomy we have in playing the game. That's where we find fulfillment. And the beauty of this, I didn't know we were going to get this today, but the beauty of this, the magical part that so many people missed out on, is the fact that because the magic is in the journey, we can choose to enjoy the hell out of it right now. We don't have to wait to get there to be happy as crap. That's the truth. That's the ultimate secret. Think about that one. We can be happy now. Yet the vast majority of humans are anything but happy. Last thing we want to belong, man. We want to be part of something bigger, bigger than ourselves. Does that make sense? We want to know that we matter. We want to know that once we're off this earth, which when you think about it, the time we spend on this earth is really just a blip in the radar of how long our energy has been here and will be here. Just a small little speck on the whole scope of time. We want to know that we're done here, man. We ain't done. It's not over. We matter. What we do matters. We contribute. When somebody's working for you and you want them to perform and be motivated on their own, they've got to know that their voice matters, their input matters, their insight matters, that there's something bigger than them that they're contributing to. Does that make sense? You and I, when we wake up, we're just not inspired, we're not motivated. It's time to turn around and say, man, what am I missing here? Maybe it's here. Maybe we never stop to think to see how what we do plugs in to the bigger picture. If we don't understand this, then our day-to-day chores get really, really long. They get difficult. Things are hard at times, but when we're motivated, we can deal with hard. When we're lacking motivation and we're down in the dumps, hard will roll us over. So I'll leave you with this, right? When I asked you to look at this between kind of two sets of goggles, one for those that we influence, those around us, those that are subordinate to us, right? And then the second one for ourselves, man. I don't know about you, but when I wake up in the morning, I don't have a go button. And I don't wake up always on the right side of the bed. And this is a tool that allows me to change that. Because I'm not going to settle for mediocrity. I'm not going to settle, right, for this little battle that goes on in our head and letting it dictate my quality of life. Like I said at the beginning of the show, the battle exists for everyone. And the more perfect that 90% of their life is, the more freaking messed up that other 10% is. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. The secret that we can be happy now. Easy to talk about, a little hard to implement. But if you own this stuff, man, life is good. It really is. Harvey says, where'd you get your insight from? A lot of life, a lot of reading, a lot of self-practice, Harvey. I've been at this probably close to 20 years now, you know. All the above. Mr. Joe says, Pat, I have something very personal I need your help with. Can I talk to you on a private one-on-one? You can, Joe. Just just reach out to me, you know. And that's for any of you. My email is simple. It's pat@patrickprecourt.com. pat@patrickprecourt.com. Super easy to get hold of. Mr. Kevin Murphy, very good session, Pat. Thank you. Thank you, guys, man. It's been a pleasure. I'll let you rock and roll, man. You guys freaking rock, and I'll share this with you one more time, right? You guys are kind of part of the tribe here, right? You know, if you need shit, ask for it. Among some good people. Kent and I talk about this all the time, you know, that we're amazed at the quality of people that we attract in around us, you know, and just keep that in mind, because you're all one of them. It's good stuff. Peace, guys. And see you, Cheryl.